What's up, and welcome back to Opposites Attract Podcast. This is Sonja Ramirez, your girl. Now I'm sitting next to my man,
Miguel Ramirez. What's up, baby?
Everybody?
What's happening?
How's everybody doing? How are you doing? How you
doing?
Doing?
It is a rainy, well, we're recording this on Saturday. It is a rainy Saturday.
I know, it's so nice and beautiful, but I'm so ready for it to be over.
I like I like these days because we can just, like, I don't feel like going out anywhere.
Yeah.
I just want to stay in my sweatpants or my pajama pants and a t-shirt and just be a bum.
You don't want to wear stilettos?
Absolutely not.
You sure? They might look good on you.
No.
No, today's nice because I have you home and we can cuddle. We had some cream of wheat earlier.
And we can watch American Idol with Audrey.
Oh, yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah, we got to watch that.
But I'm ready for the summer. I'm ready for the sun. I need me some sun. Our weather has been so off, and this seems like the longest winter ever.
I like it.
Like, for real, though, you know?
It's been good, though.
I just don't feel as motivated when it's so gloomy and cold.
You know what? Yes. I don't know if I should even talk about it. But
you better yesterday, not be talking about
No. Yesterday, we had a great, it was just a meet up with a friend / mentor /
yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah,
man.
with Bill Soroka. Bill Soroka. So if you guys haven't listened to that podcast, Bill helped Sonja with her notary business.
Yes,
and he's the owner of Sign and Thrive. Mm-hmm. So it's an Amazon bestseller.
Yeah, Amazon bestseller. You can find him all over YouTube.
But the thing is that he doesn't only do notary. Like, he's moving into doing different things, and he's experienced.
An author. He's a speaker. Now he's starting to travel, and
he's experienced with a lot of different things.
Yeah.
So we met up with him to talk about our podcast, and we talked about all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
But it was really cool to hang out with him.
Good times.
But
it's good. It's good times. Good times. Great association.
I forgot why I brought that up. Like summers aren't as bad when you have a pool, you know?
Mm-hmm. Oh,
they don't seem as bad. Like, summers were brutal before, but when you have a pool and you can just kind of jump in, even though it gets so hot in Arizona that there's a certain point in the summertime where not even the pool is like, it's like, all right, it's like, this is like swimming in piss. it's like that hot.
No, because our pool though is shaded.
It does have shade most of the time.
Yeah, like, it doesn't get too warm. But no, I love it because during the summer, most of the time I take that time off. And it's just amazing because we wake up in bathing suits and that's what we wear the entire day.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, we don't need a shower. Let's just go jump in the pool. No. It's cool. I remember the first year when we were living here at this house. I'm so excited. Like, I was excited for the kids because they were going to have, new friends and just new experiences. And we had a pool. We have a pool in a park across the street. So I'm thinking, okay, we're going to have a crap load of kids here. And we did. Like, the first year, our door, it was like a revolving door. And I remember I went grocery shopping and I packed our pantry. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
With all kinds of snacks. And Miguel's like, what are you doing? I'm like, well, there's going to be kids over here. And I want my pantry stocked. And it was stocked with a bunch of junk. And so once we started eating healthy, I'm like, we can't have this stuff in here because the lack of self-discipline we have.
Oh yeah, we like just give in and start tearing everything up.
It's a battle.
Yeah.
Like, lately, I have not been motivated for crap, and but for me, I feel that it's the weather.
Really?
Yes, because the energy gives me. I mean, the sun gives me energy.
It's like the weather to
just weird.
Put on heavy clothes and eat some stuff and just flop around.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm a native.
Well,
and I'm excited to have the sun back in my life.
So speaking of the first year, that this is something that I've mentioned, or I think I told the story on the podcast, but it was probably one of the early podcasts. So for the new people that are listening, I'll tell it one more time, or I'll probably tell it again. But so yeah, when we first moved into the house, we had all kinds of kids, like Sonja was saying, just coming over, and they would go swimming. And there was this time where Audrey had her friends come over to go swimming, and Sonja wasn't home. and they were two little girls.
I remember.
Right? And so they're getting ready to go swimming, and Audrey, you know, we're Hispanic. I wish I had like some Mexican like the cucaracha music. Funny. But yeah, so she could jump in the pool. I mean, she still needs some sunblock.
Yes.
But she's not gonna burn completely.
Yeah, like Joey.
You know, like Joey. Yeah, Joey's pasty. Yeah. So, and her two friends,
they're pasty.
Two little white girls, and they're, you know. So I'm thinking, I'm here by myself with Audrey and the two girls. And I'm thinking to myself, like, as a parent, if I let my kid, like Joey, if I let him go to your house to go swimming, and he comes back burnt, I mean, I probably should have put sunblock on him before I sent them over.
Right.
But either way, as a parent, as an adult, you should know that the kid's going to get burnt out in the pool.
Right.
So I don't want to let these girls go out there and get burnt. So I'm like, you know what? I got to put sunblock on these kids. And now this is what, 2 years ago? Over 2 years ago? So they were what, 8 years old at that time? So, and you know, with the way things are today, I'm going to get the sunblock. You know, I don't, with Audrey, with our daughter, I don't have a problem. Like, hey, all right, come on here. Let's make sure we get the sunblock all over the place. And now I got these two other girls, and I'm like,
you're like,
oh shit. So I sent Sonia a text. I'm like, you need to get your how could you leave me here with these kids? I gotta freaking put sunblock on these two little girls. And then I start thinking, I was like, you know what? I got an idea. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put sunblock in the hand of the one sister, and I'll have that sister rub it into the other sister. And then I was like, oh fuck, this sounds bad. This sounds really bad. I was like, I'm fucked. I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do. You know,
that's so funny. Like us women, I mean, that's not something we have to even think about. Like men and women are so different. You know, our trains of thoughts, just everything. We are so different. And speaking of different, like I've been told this from a really good friend who owns a business, and he asked me like if I have ever had any situations owning a business and working with other individuals of the opposite sex that own, you know, a business as well. And he's like, have you ever felt that they treat you different?
Okay.
And I've never noticed that. And then I started to think back, like in Legal Shield. What are you laughing about? Is your coffee okay?
No, it's delicious.
Oh, there's no sugar in it.
No, it's good. No,
so, you know, I started to think back in Legal Shield, and now that I think about it, every time I would recruit a male, it never worked out well.
Yo, that happened a lot.
Yeah.
That happened
like
a lot.
I got so sick of it that I'm just like, I'm not recruiting men anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a pain in the ass.
You know,
because you'd be like, all right, let's get to work. Let's do this. Let's do that. And they're like, let's go out to dinner.
Well, that was a problem too. But I don't know if it was just the respect. Like I'm a woman.
Yeah.
They're a man. I'm training them.
I don't know.
You know, all that ego in place. But he was sharing with me that he had, you know, he owns his own business, very successful business.
Yeah.
And there was another woman who owned a business, and they were going to work together. And he said, as soon as I walked in there, he's like, I wasn't sure if the other owner was a female or male, because she had one of those names, like Kelly could be for female or male.
Yeah.
Right? So he didn't know. So he walks into this room and it's a female. And he told me, he's like, Sonia, just to be honest with you, he's like, this woman, if I was going to be doing business with her, she had to prove to me that she was worthy of my business. He's like, and that sounds like a jerk off. You know, I sound like a bit of a jerk off. And she did. Yeah. She had to confront him because she felt that he was treating her different.
Yeah.
He's like, and once she stood up and confronted me, then I realized that, okay, you know, that I'm being a jerk. I need to give her the benefit of the doubt. But that's something that us women, we go through, and you guys don't think twice about it.
No, not really.
Because nothing like that ever, you know, happens in that arena.
Well, there's some things, I think, being a woman or an attractive woman where, like, you'll get a little bit more, like, you might get in places where a guy may not get in just because they're like, oh, she's good. And then if you kind of prove yourself and they're like, oh shit, man, she's sharp, like she knows her stuff or whatever, then that can take over where a guy may not get the time. They're like, you know what? I don't have time for that shit. Like I'm busy doing other shit. Like they're not getting the time of day. I don't know.
That's funny you see it that way because yeah.
Because
to me, if it's business, they're not just going to talk and bring in a woman just because she's attracted, especially if their business is doing business with them. And there's a possibility that there could be a loss of money or whatever it may be.
Yeah. Well, one thing that I have thought of, I can't remember where I heard it, but when somebody looks sharp, people trust them.
Oh, yeah.
Like let's say you're on an airplane, right? And you have a sharp-looking guy that is dressed well. He looks like he has his stuff put together. Mm-hmm. And something happens with the pilot, and you have another guy who's sloppy-looking, overweight, whatever, and they need something happened with the pilot, and they need somebody to fly the plane. Now, the overweight, sloppy-looking, balding dude may have some experience flying, but people would probably trust the other dude just because of the way he looks. Like, he looks like he has his shit together.
Yeah. No, we're very judgmental.
You know what I mean?
As human beings.
And that's something that I've told you, like, when it comes to, like, my work. Like, especially sometimes, like, when I was in a position where I was one of the younger guys.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes.
And I'm working with guys that have been doing what they've been doing for over 30 years.
That's true. I forgot about that.
They've been doing what they're doing longer than I've been alive. And now I'm an inspector inspecting their work.
Right.
So just right off the bat, I want to make sure that I look presentable. Like, I don't want to look like a fucking disaster. I'm like, who the hell is that guy? They hired him? At least if I look somewhat decent, if I look, for the job. I'm not going to show up with a fucking tuxedo on to inspect helicopters, but I'm just saying, you look good and you look like you have your shit together, and then you have to kind of prove it. Like, that is just the first step.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Cause you did mention that, there was an individual who
had
a problem, with you because of, your age, like that respect, and it's like you had to prove yourself. Don't you feel like you had to prove yourself in order to gain the respect?
I think that is the wrong thing to do, is try to prove yourself. When you're young and you're going into a place where there's people that have way more experience than you, the best thing that you can do is have humility when you go in there. Because that's exactly what, like I told the guys, I was like, look, I have experience in a lot of different things. This is not one of them. I was like, but I will learn. And I'm sure that I'm going to learn from, like, I have my peers that I'm going to be working with and I'm going to learn from them, but I'm probably going to learn just as much, if not more, from you guys, because you guys actually do this work. Like, you guys are doing it. So, I'm sorry if I have a lot of questions or whatever, but I just want to,
oh, that's awesome.
And it kind of brings the guard down, and I would ask questions. I'm like, hey man, what do you think about this? And you know what? That's a good way to bring something up. Like, if you, There have been times where I knew something was wrong, but I didn't want to come with the attitude like, hey, this is fucked up. What are you doing?
Right. Yeah.
I would be like, hey man, can you tell me what you think about this? And they would look at it, and then I would be like, what about this part right here? Like, you know what? That could probably be done better. You know what? Let me take care of that real quick. All right, cool. Without getting into the confrontation.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Just being humble and
that's probably the best way to go.
So Miguel and I found this podcast called Secular Buddhism, and I started.
It's really good.
Yeah, I started listening to it, and
we're Buddhists now, in case you guys haven't heard.
It's just a way of life. It's a way of living. At least so far, that's what I know. I am not an expert.
Hey, we should
they say it's not a religion. Like, you can, all it is, wherever you stand now, it's just becoming a better person.
We should get orange robes for the next podcast.
It's just becoming a better person where you're at, whether you're Catholic, whether you're a Christian, Mormon, whatever it is. It's just it's about becoming a better you and being more aware of where your thoughts come in and your ego and all that other stuff. So we were listening to episode 4, and I'm driving listening to this, and I'm like, holy shit, like this is super deep. Like I'm going to have to listen to this again. And I told Miguel, I'm like, hey, I need you to listen to episode 4 because this is really, really cool, because I never really thought about it. And the question he asks is, who are you? Like, who are you and what makes you you?
Yeah.
And he starts sharing and giving examples. And he's like, look at your hand. Yeah. Look at your hand. He said,
if you cut your is your hand you?
Right.
And it's like, well, it's a part of me.
Right.
But your hand doesn't make you who you are. Right. So if you cut your hand off, are you still you? And it's like, well, yeah. So at what point, like if you cut your limbs off,
right? Like
you have no arms, no legs, are you still you? Well, yeah, you're still you. So what part of you makes you who you are?
Right. And I was thinking, well, our brain. That's what I was thinking.
That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, I was thinking, our brain.
And he was saying, so what about if you get into a car accident? Because for some people, they get into they have like a severe brain injury, and it can change their personality.
Right.
Or like, let's say you're in jail and you get put into a solitary confinement. People go crazy, and you lose your mind. Well, now your brain is different. Are you still you? Are you still that person that you are? And it's like, well, that shit's crazy. It's like,
I got so confused. I'm like, I thought I know who I am. I thought I knew who I was. Now I don't know who the hell I am.
Yeah, he's sitting there. He's like, "Are you?" So yeah, if something was like that was to happen, is that still you? And you're like,
that was me. I'm like, oh, this is so deep. I don't even know how to answer this. I got to get Miguel in this with me.
So yeah, it was a really good podcast.
Yeah. And it's very interesting though.
But he told to
learn the different ways.
He told a story that really, I mean, I'm going through it right now, but he told a story about dementia. And that's something that you've been really scared of. A lot.
It's in our it runs in our family. So I am fearful of that.
And he was saying that when older people start getting dementia, like I don't know if he worked in this home or somebody that he knew, but it was a home for people that had dementia. And one thing that helps people with dementia is having a routine. So like they would come out to like the day room or the area where everybody would get together, or when they would sit down to eat. And it would help them if they all sit in the same place every time. And when they would sit down, they would have a placemat with pictures of their life. And he was like, if you think about it, he's like, it's crazy that everything that you've ever done, does that make you who you are? So like, jiu-jitsu is a part of my life now. It hasn't always been. So I was still me before jiu-jitsu. Now jiu-jitsu is a part of my life. The podcast is a part of our life. If we stop doing jiu-jitsu, if we stop doing the podcast, if I stop working on helicopters, like, am I still me? Like those are part of me, but it's not who I am.
Right, right.
And they were talking about like having a placemat with 15 pictures that help this person remember who they are. And they were like, a lot of the things that we focus on, a lot of the things that we think make us who we are wouldn't end up on that placemat.
Yeah.
Which is freaking crazy. It's crazy to think about.
Yeah.
So what pictures would be on your guys' placemat? Right? But the reason I say that, I wanted to talk about this, but one of the reasons that I say that it's something that I'm going through, a few months ago, we went to go visit my grandmother in New York, and it was super cool. And you know what? I think it was at a perfect time. it was at a perfect time because my grandmother, you could tell she was having trouble remembering exactly everything that was going on.
Right.
But she could remember.
And she's what, 93?
She's 93.
93.
Yeah. But she could remember. She could remember who I was. I would have to remind her
Right.
from time to time, and then I would have to tell her who the kids were. She knew who you were.
She just somehow always remembered who I was.
But I gave her a call, and this time it was different. And she was having trouble remembering. Like, I had to tell that pretty much our whole conversation was me telling her who I was, and me reminding her. Like, I would just bring up things that I knew that she would remember.
Right.
You know, when I was in elementary school, I got into a fight in the schoolyard, and she showed up right when the fight was happening. And this is since elementary school, this is something that she hasn't forgotten her whole life.
Yeah, she talks about it every time we call her.
Every single time.
Yeah.
Every time. And there's a handful of things that we always talk about. But when she showed up right when I was fighting in the schoolyard, and not that I really needed help. I don't know. I might have gotten beat up or whatever. Who knows? But she kept breaking the fight up every time that the kid was going to hit me or punch me. Like, she would kind of step in and stop the fight, and then we would reset, and I would maybe hit the kid a couple times, and he would go to hit me, and she would break it up again. So that's just something that she remembered, that she's remembered her whole life. So, like, our last conversation, you know, I brought her, I was like, you remember when you used to help me to fight? And I know, you know, that's something that she's going to remember. Yeah. The other thing is, when I was about 10, 11, 12 years old, we used to go to the offices in Manhattan, and we would clean the office buildings. Mm-hmm. And we had different floors, and I had a floor assigned to me, and I would clean that floor. But sometimes there was a lot of work. Yeah. And this was like on a Friday, and we would stay and sleep in the offices overnight. I mean, these are so crazy. This is like a dermatology office. Yeah. We had a travel agency. We had like a architecture company that we would clean for. Mm-hmm. And if there was a lot of work, like, we knew the companies that didn't show up to work on Saturday. So, like, let's say the engineering company, they didn't show up on Saturdays. So we would go to their floor, and we had our jackets, and we didn't have pillows or anything, but we would just ball up our jacket, and we would just sleep on the floor in the office.
In New York.
In New York.
Manhattan.
In the skyscraper, yeah.
In the winter.
No, it's not cold inside the building. But we would sleep on the floor, and then we would wake up in the morning, crazy. And we would finish cleaning, and we would leave. But that's something that she remembers. And I told, you know, when I was talking to her on the phone, I was like, you remember when we used to sleep on, you know, in the floor in the offices when we had a lot of work? And she was like, yeah. And then she's like, who are you again? You know, and I was like, I know. You know, and I would have to remind her. But
it's hard. You know, it's my mom's had to go through that a few times with my grandmother and her two sisters. And I just can't imagine, like, one day my mom not remembering who I am or my kids, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's, and a lot of people.
Well, you are a big part. I think the kids, I mean, I was a big part of my grandmother's life, and yeah, she's forgetting.
Yeah.
You know, but.
Yeah. And that is something that runs in, you know, my family. You hear that music is a big deal when it comes
We were talking about that yesterday with Bill, too.
Yes. Yeah. You know, that it can jog back. Like, you put a song on that they know of.
Yeah.
They can mentally go back to that place and remember.
Yeah.
You know? It's super cool what music can do. We were just talking about that. Like Joe Coy, we went to one of Joe Coy's live here. Was it here?
Yeah, we've only seen him here.
Oh yeah, that's right. Well, oh yeah. Who did we see in Tucson?
Bill Burr.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he started playing some old jams.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Genuine.
Just the way it takes you back.
And it so just takes you back to a time.
Yeah.
You know?
That's cool.
Yeah, it is.
The other thing is comedy. Like, comedy, it's just like a funny thing. Like, you listen to it and it's funny. But the power of comedy, like, a lot of times people don't understand the power that comedy can have. And we were talking about this yesterday with my grandfather. When my grandfather was passing away, I mean, this was a few days before he passed. And I was laying next to him in his bed. Jesus Christ, I'm going to fucking cry on this podcast. But I'm laying next to him in the bed, and I got a boombox, or fucking boombox with a bunch of D batteries like we used to have in the park,
and a tape cassette player. No, with a tape cassette.
So I got a stereo. Boombox. Yeah, I got a little stereo, and he had these cassette tapes of his favorite music and his comedians, and I put on a comedian that he likes from Spain, and I was just sitting in the chair or laying next to him in the bed. And I mean, these are his last days, and I can hear him giggling, like he's laughing.
Yeah,
you know. And to people, like, they may just be jokes or whatever, but shit, man, to be able to make somebody laugh at that point in their life, it's fucking special.
I remember you put on The Lion King because he likes that.
That was his favorite song.
I remember when we went with him in his car. I don't know where we went.
Oh my God.
And he was playing it in Florida.
No. Not only was he playing it, he had a cassette with that song. It was like back to back to back to back.
What song was it?
In the Jungle. The Lion Sleeps Tonight. Yep, that's the one.
So funny. I remember. Yeah. I get into the car and it starts playing. I'm like, oh, okay. I can do this.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to meet him. I didn't get to meet
my other grandmother.
Your other grandmother.
Or my other grandfathers.
Yeah.
But they've all been very special to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. My grandmother pretty much raised me. You know, my grandmother on my dad's side, I would get out of school and I would go elementary school. I would go to my grandfather's job, and he would drive me to my grandmother's house, and I would eat there. I would kind of do my homework there, or not.
Pretend
or not
to do his homework.
You know, she introduced me to one of my oldest friends, Juan Carlos. If you're listening out there, man, I love you, man. He's been my friend since 6 years old. We've been friends since we were 30. I mean, for 30 years. For 30 years, since 6 years old. Like when, in the apartment building, he used to put up pictures on his door that he would draw. Yeah. And I would see him going to my grandmother's apartment, and she's like, hey, I got a friend I want to introduce to you. And she introduced me to him. But man, I've learned a lot from her. Like the hard work, obviously, working at freaking 10 years old.
Yeah. I was doing that with my mom too. That's so funny. I used to go with my mom and clean apartments.
It's like we always had, she always made us something to eat. We had work to do. Before I could go out and play with my friends, she would make me sit down and read these books it was in Spanish. So I had to read the book in Spanish. I had to understand the story because she was going to ask me questions. Like all the stories had some kind of lesson to be learned in them. And she would ask me before I would go play with my friends, like, what was the story of the lesson? I don't know if it was like one about, borrowing money, or one about making the wrong decisions when you should make the right one, or whatever. And it's I've learned a lot from them.
I was talking to Joey the other day, and he was just bawling because of Frazier. So we had
Frazier is our dog. Was our dog.
Yes, my soulmate. Besides you, babe. And we lost him 2 years ago?
About a year ago.
Was it a year ago?
A year ago around Christmas.
Yeah. And every once in a while, one of us, it could be myself, it could be one of the kids, like we're just crying. Joey was really bawling. And so I started talking to him. I'm like, it's just a circle of life. That's what happens. Babies are born every day and people die every day. And he's like, well, I don't like this circle of life. Why did God have to make this circle of life? Why do people have to die? Why did Frazier have to die? And
yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, that's why you got to enjoy the moments.
Appreciate the moments.
Yes, that you have now.
Appreciate the people you have around you, because they're not going to be around forever. With my grandmother, she has a strong personality. She has a tough personality to deal with sometimes. But I mean,
she loves me, so I'm good. You. I can't imagine her not liking me. Oh, like,
you do not want to be somebody she doesn't like.
No, I can't imagine that. It's like, I'm glad I'm on her good side, because I would not want to be on her bad side.
Hey, so speaking about Frazier, we went to go visit your brother last weekend.
Oh man! Oh, but the puppy was so cute.
You guys are trying to trick me into getting another puppy.
I wouldn't.
And we have Nisi, who's our longest dog. We've had her forever,
13,
longer than we've been married.
Yeah.
And then a year later we got Fraser, and then Fraser passed last year, the year before.
Yeah. And Nisi's still doing very well.
Nisi's still doing good.
Besides having bad teeth, bad breath.
Yeah, but she's just old.
Yeah.
So then last year we got Jane, which is she's a pit bull puppy. She's a little bit over a year old.
Yeah.
But at your brother's house, he's got a bunch of new puppies, and they're like what, lab and pit bull mix. They're cute.
I don't know.
And there's one that kind of looks like Fraser, and
he's so cute.
And I told the kids, I was like, look, if you guys want a puppy, we are not gonna have 3 dogs. Yeah. So we got to get rid of a dog. I was like, so Jane, which is our newest dog, I was like, we got to get rid of Jane. I was like, you know what?
We got to get rid of Jane.
And I was like, I'm just joking around. I'm just joking around. But I was like, you know what? If you want another dog, then we're going to put Jane in the car and we're going to drive out to the desert. And you're going to have to open the door and let her out. And Audrey goes, well, why don't we do that with Nisi instead? And I was like, what the fuck? Yeah.
And what did she say though? Why?
Why? Because she's old?
Yes. She said older? Because she's old. Like, she knows that she's close to
dying. I was like, oh, you gotta be. I was like, you're cold-blooded. Holy shit.
What about Nisi? She's gonna die anyway.
Oh my God.
Oh no. But they've never been like, they like Nisi, but Nisi's been, she won't let them mess with her. No. Like she will growl. She's never bit them though.
Nisi's kind of like a cat. Like she'll let you pet her, but she only lets you do to her what she wants you to do. Like if she doesn't want to be pet, she'll kind of get away.
She always wants to be pet.
No, she does. But if she doesn't, then you can tell by her personality, like she would get away. She's like, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, like she's not into the kids.
Neither is Jane. Jane's like our dog.
And that's why I'm so sad because both of the dogs are our dogs. Like they follow me everywhere. Those dogs, like.
Speaking of Jane farted in your mouth a couple days ago.
That was so gross. That was yesterday.
Dude, you literally.
It was so gross.
Literally had to go brush your teeth.
Yeah. So I'm laying on the bed. We're talking.
Yeah.
We're talking. Jane's like in between us. Yeah. Okay. I didn't realize like I was like close to her butt. Like we were just talking. Yeah. I was kneeling over the bed and all of a sudden she farted and I was pretty close to her.
Her farts were so raunchy.
Oh, I could taste her fart. It was so gross and it was all up in my mouth. I got up and started brushing my teeth. It was so gross. Bad. And he's like, it took a bit for you to smell it, but once you smelled it, you're
once it hit me, I was like, Jesus Christ.
I'm like, I can taste it. It's in my mouth. I thought on movies when they said that, because
that's
you would hear it.
That's the first time you've tasted shit?
That's the first, yes. Yes.
So bad.
But I thought that it was, I didn't think it was real. I didn't think that you would be able to taste a fart.
Oh, that's so gross.
You know?
Yeah.
First time for everything. You know? Ugh.
That's so bad.
Anyways, the stuff we talk about on opposites.
So what's up, babe? What you got? You got anything you want to talk about?
I'm talking about everything right now, boy. What?
Hey, so the U.S. Space Force is a thing.
Okay.
Yeah, that was so when Trump was running for president, or I don't know if it was when he was running or after. It's kind of funny because people were like, he said something. He's like, yeah, we're gonna start the Space Force, and people start laughing. They're like, you fucking idiot. Yeah. With Space Force, what the fuck? And then it's like, well, now there is a such thing as the U.S. Space Force. Like that is the 5th branch of the military. So now you have the Army, the Navy, the Marines, the Air Force, and you have the Space Force.
I want to go to the Space Force.
And, well, you have the Coast Guard, which they're also part of the military.
Force.
But you have the Space Force. So they have, I don't know how many, there's a certain amount of people from the Air Force and from the Army, I imagine probably from the other branches too, that are going to transition into the Space Force. And I mean, if you
think,
cool. At first when Trump was talking about it, it kind of sounds like he's fucking around or he's just joking or maybe he's an idiot like talking about the Space Force. But when you think about it and you think about the future, it's like we're probably gonna need a Space Force. Like if we have
makes sense.
If we have jets that are flying at the edge of the atmosphere and spy planes and satellites and that kind of shit, like that's all considered space. So you might want a department that deals with that specifically.
Yeah.
So,
hey, I wanted to bring were you done with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's up?
So,
the fuck?
I was I'm like, dude, were you done? Can you
zip it?
Shut up. No. No, so I was, at one of my signings and there was a couple there and we were just talking, and I think that because I was talking to her about women and, marriage and how, a lot of times if the husband dies, the woman is just lost, not knowing where, all the investments are. They don't, they're not aware of
everything that's, everything that has to do with the house.
And she said, well, this is what we've done. She's like, we have everything written out for each other. Bank accounts, every bank account, every password. Our safe, he has the information for the safe, the will, all the investments, everything in a binder. In case something happens to one of us, the other person knows where everything's at. And not only that, but we have a copy. We left a copy, isn't it?
Yeah.
We left a copy with our kids as well.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Because
we're always together. And so if something happens to both of us, the kids are aware.
Yeah.
Isn't that a great idea?
Yeah, that's good.
I'm like, holy crap. I'm like, that's something we need to do. And I think that that's something that everybody needs to do.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times when you hear these horror stories, my friend Mike, who's a loan officer, I was talking to him this morning, man, and he's like, hey, I'm sorry I didn't, get back with you yesterday. He said, I got a call from, my friend's wife. Like he was in a freak accident. I guess he changes the tires on diesel trucks. And I guess the rims are individual rims or...
They're split. They probably
that's what
bolt
he
together.
said.
Yeah.
That's what he said. They're split.
Yeah.
And his friend was taking, changing it out. And one of the tires...
blew.
Yes. And half of his... I was just like, I am so sorry. And he's like, I can't imagine, leaving my wife and never coming back, or vice versa, and getting that phone call. And I'm like,
yeah, that's crazy.
I can't imagine that, but that shit happens every time we leave to work or we leave. I mean, car accidents happen all the time, and you hear stories like this all the time.
Yeah.
And it's just, you never hope or you never wish anything like this happens, but you just don't have any control. So having all your shit in place, just in case, and so Miguel and I, we did our will.
We got to redo it.
Yeah, because in Legal Shield, that's, one of the benefits of our services.
Hey, babe, do you know how could somebody get Legal Shield if they wanted to get Legal Shield?
Oh, well, babe, they can actually go to www.trustincUSA.com.
Is that trustincUSA.com?
It actually is.
Nice.
Yes.
So what do they see if they go to trustincUSA.com?
Well, they'll see that Trust Inc. is a nationwide mobile notary agency.
Nice.
We do a lot of work with title companies, law firms, and individuals as well. So if there's a document that needs to be notarized. And then, we are also independent associates with Legal Shield.
Yeah. What is Legal Shield?
Legal Shield, it's a service. And we give you access to attorneys in your state at the palm of your hand. We have this handy dandy app, and one push of a button connects you to your law firm in your state. And actually, you have free legal forms.
Yes.
Super
and the
cool.
will is part of that,
and
which is what we were just talking about.
Yes.
So
and we have small business plans as well.
Small business plans, employee benefits. That's trustincUSA.com. You can also go to oppositesattractpod.com and you can subscribe to the show. You can see the Spotify link, Facebook, Instagram, everything's on there for our social media. You can actually watch the podcast there. You can listen to it. And if you click on the support the show tab at the top, it'll take you to our Amazon affiliate link, and anything that you purchase through that link also helps out the show. And you'll also see the tab for Trust Inc.
Yes. And if you have any questions or comments or just anything you want to share with us, you're able to do that.
Yes. If you click on Contact Us on oppositesattractpod.com, you can send us a message, or you can send us a message on any of our social media, or you can also call us.
Yes. And that phone number is 480-912-5128. So 480-912-5128.
So call us and send us some questions, leave us a voicemail, comments, whatever.
And sharing is caring, so share. Now, back to my story. So, we were talking about getting our will done because the one previously, is old, so we need to update it. So Legal Shield actually does that for free. But when we were speaking to our new financial advisor...
Heck yeah. We've been making some moves lately.
Congratulations, baby. I know, I'm excited, man. I'm like checking my list. I have lists too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've been checking that bad boy off one at a time. We got our house set up on bi-weekly. We just dropped our rates down. So all kinds of good stuff.
Well, yeah, we can talk about that in a minute.
So anyways, the will, we're getting that updated. And the financial advisor, same thing. You guys have 2 kids.
Yeah.
Do you guys have this done? And most of us don't think about it. And it's one of the most
We're about to get into a Legal Shield commercial again here.
No, on
it's
a serious...
It's true.
It is. It's super important because, when that happened with my sister, we were in court fighting.
You guys were trying to get that will done at the last second, like in the hospital, right?
Yeah. It didn't happen, though. And she wasn't coherent.
Well, yeah. And the thing, that is not the time to be doing that stuff.
Yeah. No bueno.
So...
But just, get your shit
together. Get it together,
That's
people.
Get it together, Your family is the most important thing in your life. So make sure that they are taken care of. Yep. All right.
Are you done?
I am. Yes, I am.
So there's a new scam going around. The scam is, there's like voice changing software.
Ew.
So I guess the software... They have video software that it can analyze your face and it can attach your face to a video or whatever. Mm-hmm. But there's this voice changing software where it'll analyze your voice and it can pretty much mimic your voice. So I can talk through the software and it'll make me sound like you.
Ooh.
So this is something that is already happening.
Yeah.
I read this article.
It's happening.
Actually, it was put out by the Florida Attorney General. I think she's in Brevard County, which is where my mom's at, and my aunt, my godmother. But what it is, what happened, they were I think it was on Forbes magazine. They said that there's a company in the UK that somebody called saying that they were the CEO. Like they had cloned the CEO's voice. And they were saying that they had a deal that they were working out, but they had to act immediate. Like it had to happen fast in order for this deal to happen. So they needed to get this money transferred over. But you're getting a call from the CEO.
Right.
And they had to transfer over like $200,000.
That's crazy.
And they got scammed.
Because think about it. Like right now we're in the middle of the process of refinancing.
Yeah, true.
You call me and say, hey, baby, I need your social, because, so-and-so needs it. And it sounds like you.
Well, and the thing is that the other way that they're doing it is also they're asking for money. So like if somebody, think about it. We have our podcast on YouTube, on Facebook. So there's plenty of hours of our voices talking. So software can analyze our voices, and then you call my mom and be like, hey, Mom, I'm in a jam, or I'm trying to do something and I need some money or whatever. Can you help me out?
Mom,
it's an emergency.
Fall for it. Your mom would.
Yeah.
Your mom would totally do it. I should totally
But and
I got you, baby.
It's like I gotta do this right away. Can you help me out?
Yeah.
And then you get scammed. The other thing that they do it with companies. Like if you work for HR and they'll call and say that they need the records of so many employees for some kind of audit or whatever. And it's from a voice from somebody that you know, and you start sending documents over, or they start asking for personal, hey, or like, let's say my mom called me.
Yeah.
And she's like, hey, baby, I'm going to put you on our life insurance, or I'm doing a trust, or I'm doing a will, and I need your information so that I can put you down as a beneficiary.
Right.
What's your social security number? What's your date of birth? Mm-hmm. And then you just start giving everything out.
See, that's so crazy because, I mean, that's what's going to happen. I mean, because we live in such a technology-based society. Like, think about it. We walk around with little computers in the palm of our hand.
Yeah.
You know, and the way things are changing, and it seems like they're changing pretty rapidly.
Yeah.
You know, it's just we're going to have different problems.
Yep.
You know, different problems.
Hey, so what did you think about the series of videos that I was talking about making?
I don't know.
Did I talk? Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I mean, would they be like funny? Like, would you?
No. Well, I guess I would try to make it a little funny. But so I was talking.
What do I look like, a clown?
No. So what I was saying is just making like videos to teach, because everything's on YouTube.
Yeah.
To teach younger guys, I guess, like guys are missing out on learning how to do some shit that men used to know how to do.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Like, I showed you that video of a police officer that had pulled this kid over, and he was on his way to a job interview, and he was rushing because he went to his friend's house because his friend was going to tie his tie for him because he didn't know how to tie a tie.
Right.
So he went to his friend's house. He wasn't there, so now he was hauling ass to his interview and got pulled over by the cop. And then he explained to the cop what happened, and the cop's like, cool. He's like, where's your tie? He's like, come here. And he tied the tie for him, and he put it on him.
Yeah.
But cool. Those are the little things that a lot of young men today don't know how to do. And I was talking about it yesterday, like shining shoes is another one.
Yeah.
And you would think that in the military you learn how to shine shoes, but nowadays, not even in the military, because their shoes don't require shining. Yeah. I'm a little bit older, and when I was in the military, we did have to shine shoes. So you learned how to do it. You learn how to iron. In the military now, uniforms don't get ironed really.
Right.
You know?
Well, I mean, today there's clip-on ties.
Which, when you do jujitsu, it'd probably be a better idea to wear a clip-on tie, because if you're wearing a regular tie, that's you're asking to get choked
out.
But no, you should know how to tie a tie.
Yeah.
You should know how to shine some shoes. You should know how to iron, like not iron wrinkles into your clothes. Yeah. Iron the wrinkles out of your clothes. Yeah. You know,
you're really good at ironing. Like, you're my Martha effing Stewart. You know what's so funny? Okay, so I know how to sew, but I think you sew better. And I took home ec, you know, way back in high school. But whenever I need something sewed, I go to my husband.
Yeah.
And what's so funny is
the kids come to me too.
The kids go to him.
They're like, excuse me, Mom. Dad, can you sew this for me, please?
Not only that, like ironing, he was in the military, so he's a pro at that. So, you know, I don't do the ironing in the house. He does.
I'm talking like if you want to iron something properly, like if you want to use some starch.
If you want a straight line, a straight crease,
their crease,
don't ask me to iron.
You're going to have multiple creases.
Yeah. Like I would, you know, I mean, I take my suits into the cleaners, but if I need something ironed, I'm going to you, because I don't want to be all jacked up looking.
So what do you guys think? I mean, for you guys that are listening out there, do you guys think that would be a good idea, a good series? I mean, it would just be a handful of videos.
Like what, 5-minute videos?
Yeah, maybe a few minutes on how to tie a tie.
Okay.
How to shine some shoes, how to iron some shit, how to fix like some regular shit around the house that a guy should know how to do.
That'd be kind of cool. I know Thomas would watch.
Like, this is a flathead screwdriver. Yeah. This
is a plunger.
This is not a star.
This is a plunger.
This is a plunger. Yeah. No, but I'm saying, like, this is not a star screwdriver. This is actually called a Phillips screwdriver.
Right.
You know, just like
it's so cute, because I see you working with our son, and it's so cute. Like, our fridge has this cool little area and photos,
just a little
different
screen.
photos,
little screen
pop up.
Yeah.
And one pops up where you're showing him how to change the oil and, just how to do those things. And he's under there and, changing the oil and doing all this. But it's so cute to see him. And he knows the difference between a Phillips.
Yeah. He knows a ratchet. He knows wrenches, sockets. Yeah.
And that's something that you've been really, really good at. It's just in teaching him the little things.
The crazy thing is that in today's time where everybody has to be completely equal and, women can do everything that men can do and men can do it's like, women are incredible. And, but there are some things that men do or have done.
Yeah. Like you should change my tire.
Yeah, right. And I do.
And you do.
And I do. So...
My sister Lorraine would get down,
It's important.
Like, Lorraine knows how to freaking change a tire. She knows how to...
Everybody should know how to change a tire. Everybody.
Yeah, I don't need to. I never had to, so...
Everybody should know because...
I have a cell phone.
Yeah.
Hey. No.
Yeah.
I need help. No, but, yeah. I've never done it before, so maybe you can show me.
Yeah. I'll show you. I'm sure I've showed you before.
That'd be sexy.
I taught you how to drive a stick.
Yes.
And how to ride one.
So let's talk about that, okay? Let's talk about that. No, what?
And how to ride one.
Oh, please. Please. Anyways. Nice, babe. Nice. He would not get off my back. You drove me bananas. And that's why I decided to drive a stick, because you wouldn't leave me alone.
Yeah.
And I was so wanting to choke you out. And I'm like, I'm going to do this just to shut this man up. Like, for real.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. Like, I'm like, okay, shut up.
Yeah.
And I learned. But it's so crazy. I would even have dreams.
Really?
Yeah.
Driving? I know. I would feel
there's something chasing me, and the damn car I hopped in is a damn stick.
Yeah. And I'd be laying next to her in the bed like,
Nice. So, yeah, no. Yeah. So, thank you. You did. That's right. You did teach me how to drive a car stick.
So, I guess I'll save some of this. I got some other stuff that we can talk about next week. But I showed you yesterday some of our statistics and the map and all that. Mm-hmm. And it's crazy. Like, when we're doing the podcast, like we just we think about the people that we know personally. But there's a lot of people out there that may be listening to the podcast that we have no idea who they are, where they're, we can kind of see where they're from. Mm-hmm. So before we get out of here, I just wanted to say thank you to everybody that's listening, everybody that's around the country.
Should you say it in Spanish? Too?
Everybody that's this is an English podcast.
No, but I know.
It's for the people that's in Mexico or in the Latino America, thank you for listening. Yes. No, but no, seriously though, like, I mean,
no, it's cool it's to crazy see it growing.
It's crazy to see it expanding like around the world.
Right.
Like there's like in South America and Asia, and I mean, it's just nuts.
Yeah.
So thank you guys all for listening. Thank you to all of you out there that are listening from wherever you're listening from.
Yes.
Anywhere around the country, around the world. We appreciate it.
You guys.
Thank you.
Yes. So are we good?
Yeah.
Like, this is it? Oh, my goodness.
This week is a little bit shorter because we had a couple extra podcasts for this month and a really long one last week.
Yeah. If you guys haven't watched it and you have children, you definitely, you want to take a listen to episode 48.
Yeah.
48.
With Sandy Semino.
Yes. Who specializes in children's behavior.
Yeah.
But it's also teens as well. Like, she does a lot, with teens as well.
It was really cool because it kind of felt like that was one of the main reasons. Like, this is also why we do the podcast, is to talk to you guys, to have a good time. But we also want to try and help.
Yes.
And we felt like last week having somebody like her on was really cool.
And I know as parents, we can use all the help. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
So there we go.
So anyway, thank you guys for being with us. Thank you for listening.
And until next time.
Bye.
Bye.